This year in Kitah,
we learned about
and followed Joseph's life journey. Our presentation begins
with the Israelites living in Egypt
as slaves under a new Pharaoh.
Extra, extra, read all about it. New king in Egypt.
I hope the new Pharaoh treats us as nicely as the other kings. I hope he remembers the things that Joseph did for Egypt many, many years ago.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Pharaoh decides to make Hebrew slaves. Pharaoh forces slaves to build cities.
What did we ever do to him? Minding our business and not bothering anybody. And boom, just like that, he has us building Pithom and Ramses.
Minister, come here.
Yes, great Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt, son of the sun god, master of the Nile.
What's the story with the Hebrew slaves?
They're still around.
I know that. They're everywhere. They multiply like rabbits. The more work I give them, the more babies they have. We've got to get rid of them. Have you any ideas?
Maybe if you ask them nicely, they'd stop having so many babies.
You want me to ask them nicely to stop having babies? I'm Pharaoh, ruler of Egypt, son of the sun god, master of the Nile. I don't ask anyone anything nicely. In fact, I don't ask. I act. I'd rather just kill them all.
Who would finish the store cities?
Drat, you're right. We have to do it slowly. We'll kill all the babies.
That could be awfully messy.
All right, just the male babies. Kill them as they're born. Have the boy babies thrown into the Nile.
But they'll drown.
Bingo.
A certain man of the house of Levi went and married a Levite woman. She bore a son, and when she saw how beautiful he was, she hid him for 3 months. When she could care for him no longer, she put the child into a basket and placed it among the reeds of the Nile River.
Look, princess, there's a basket floating in the water. Pull it in and let's see what is inside. Ooh, a baby. Kitty, kitty, cute. Where did he come from? Most likely a Hebrew child, but I think I'll keep him.
Sometime later, Moses grew up, and he went out to see the suffering of his Hebrew brothers and sisters. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. He looked around to see if anyone was looking. Then he struck down the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. The next day, Moses saw 2 Hebrews fighting.
Hey there, stop that. Who made you king, Mr. Big Shot, Mr. Fancy Schmancy Egyptian Prince? Are you going to kill me like you killed that Egyptian yesterday?
That's supposed to be a secret. Secret? It's all over the country. Your name's already on the most wanted tablets. I've got to escape.
Moses fled to the land of Midian and stayed with Jethro and his 7 daughters. He married Jethro's daughters Deborah and 2 sons, named Gershom and Eleazar.
There's a lot of moaning and groaning down there. It is time to remember the covenant. I promised Abraham that his family would inherit Canaan. Pharaoh is dead and there's a new one. Yes, it is time.
And Moses was tending the sheep of his father-in-law Jethro, and he drove his flock toward Mount Horeb, the mountain of God.
Look at that, a burning bush. It is on fire, but it is not burning up. That is incredible. How is it doing that? I've got to get in for a better look.
Moses.
Here I am. Who said that? Who are you?
Don't come closer. Remove your sandals, for you are on holy ground.
Who's talking?
I am the God of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Moses, it is time to rescue the Hebrew people from slavery and bring them to a land flowing with milk and honey. I shall send you to Pharaoh, and you shall free the Hebrews.
Me? I'm a wanted criminal. You must have made a mistake.
You, Moses.
All right. When the Hebrews ask, who shall I say sent me?
I am that I am. The being of the universe sends you.
What about Pharaoh? What if he doesn't listen to me?
He will listen. Throw your rod down.
But I can't speak to Pharaoh. I stuttered.
If necessary, your brother Aaron can act as your spokesperson. Even now, he's coming to greet you. Now move along.
Moses and Aaron gathered the elders of Israel and repeated the words which the Lord had spoken to Moses, performed the signs, and the people were convinced. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, hello. I'm Moses and this is Aaron. Thus says the Lord, God of Israel, let my people go that they may worship me.
Sure, why not? What a small thing to ask of me. What do I need 600,000 slaves for anyway? They're only good for building storage cities and monuments.
Aaron, that was easy.
Moses, I don't think Pharaoh is serious.
You're right, I'm not serious. Who is God? I don't see him around here. Get out of here.
We'll only be gone for 3 days.
3 days? That's reasonable.
Moses, I think you're convincing him.
Aaron, I don't think this Pharaoh is a generous type.
Moses, to show you how impressed I am, I'm going to make your Hebrews collect their own straw and bricks. And I'll be any slave who doesn't meet the quota.
How can you do such a cruel thing?
How? I just did.
And the Hebrews came to Moses and Aaron, and they said to them, "May the Lord punish you for what you have done to us."
We sure are in a mess. Instead of freeing the slaves, we've made things worse.
Moses, don't worry. It's only temporary. Everything's going according to plan. He'll let you go. Pharaoh will yet know a power greater than his own.
Pharaoh had arisen in the land who made slaves of the Hebrews. Moses was sent by God to free his people, but Pharaoh refused to listen to Moses. Instead, he increased the bitterness of slavery and left Moses depressed and demoralized.
Moses, I am the Lord who appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as El Shaddai. I have heard the suffering of Hebrews and remembered my covenant with them.
Nobody will listen to me. Pharaoh is cruel and mean, and I stutter.
Do not lose heart, Moses. I am placing you in the role of God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron is as your prophet. Now go, show Pharaoh the power I have given you.
Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 when they made their demand to Pharaoh.
Who's back? Moses and Aaron. And you brought a rod with you? A game? Baseball? High jump? Pool?
Aaron, throw the rods down.
A snake? How impressive. My magicians can do that too.
Aaron, their rods have all turned into snakes also.
Pharaoh, Aaron's snake has swallowed the snakes of all our magicians.
Big deal.
God, Pharaoh was not impressed by the snake trick.
He's a stubborn man.
What do we do?
Do as I say. It's time Egypt had a few plagues. In the morning, go to Pharaoh by the edge of the Nile and strike the water with your rod. The river shall turn into blood, and all the fish will die.
Good morning, great Pharaoh. Would you like a cup of water?
Yes, thank you. Over there. Do you see them? It's Aaron and Moses. What are those two pests up to now?
I haven't the foggiest. Here's your glass of blood.
Blood?
Blood! It just turned to blood. The whole Nile is turning red. It must be the work of Moses.
Let my people go, Pharaoh, or the land will become infested with frogs.
And Aaron held out his arm over the rivers, canals, and the ponds. The frogs came up and covered the land.
Pharaoh, what are we gonna do? If I step on another frog, I'll scream. Last night I shared my bed with 49 frogs. My baby's first words were goo goo ribbit.
Moses, ask the Lord to remove these frogs. I'll let your people go.
But once the frogs were gone, Pharaoh became stubborn again.
Pharaoh, there were some Egyptian peasants here to see you.
Mighty Pharaoh, master of the Nile, son of the sun god. Let's get down to business. We can't take a joke as well as the next nation, but enough is enough.
First, we have to drink blood water, and we share our beds with frogs. When you promised to let the Hebrews go, things cleared up for a while. Then you got stubborn, so we get lice.
Everybody but the Hebrews are scratching like crazy. Next, we get swarms of insects.
You know, it's very hard to do business when there are swarms of insects. When it comes to pest lice, all of our farm animals are
But does
lying
Pharaoh let
sick.
the Hebrews go? No. He's hard-hearted. Last week, everyone breaks out in boils. The dermatologists had patients lined up for blocks. This week, it's hailing. The hail is the size of a cow's hoof.
Pharaoh, we're patient people, but have mercy on us. These plagues are making us neurotic. What do you say, mighty Pharaoh?
Off with your heads. So Pharaoh remained stubborn, and he would not let the Hebrews go, just as the Lord had foretold to Moses. After weeks of blood water, frogs, swarming insects, pestilence, boils, and hail, Pharaoh has consented to meet once more with Moses and Aaron, leaders of the Let My People Go committee.
Pharaoh, let my people go. How long will you be hard-hearted?
Pharaoh, perhaps you should listen to Moses.
Nobody friends the great Pharaoh.
If you refuse to let my people go, says the Lord, God of the Hebrews, I will bring locusts to your territory. What the hail didn't destroy, the locusts will eat. They'll eat everything from grain stalks to chin whiskers.
You can't threaten me.
Oh, great Pharaoh. We really don't want locusts. There's no market for locusts. Lighten up, oh wondrous loser.
Be gone from here, Hebrew nobodies.
Nobodies, my. You certainly aren't getting touchy.
And the locusts invaded the land of Egypt in a thick mass. They hid the land from view, for the land was covered with them. They ate all the grasses of the fields and the fruits of the trees, so that nothing remained in Egypt. And Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron.
Friends, dear friends, pals, buddies.
And now I suppose we should think he's serious. I don't trust him.
Hey, I sinned. I made a mistake. I stand guilty. Can you forgive me?
Will you let us go?
Friend, pal, buddy. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, so to speak.
Very well. With a strong west wind, the Lord will lift the locusts from the land. Now, about your part of the bargain.
Bargain? You're lucky to be alive. Screw it. Get out of here.
I guess this means that you still won't let us go.
Hey, who turned out the lights? Where did everyone go?
Hey, we seem to be having a blackout, Pharaoh.
Ouch, you're sticking my foot. It's the middle of the day and I can't see one in front of my face.
Moses just pointed his staff towards the sky and suddenly there was a giant cloud of darkness.
Moses again. Ow, you're seeing my hand. That's it. Call Moses.
You rang.
Get rid of the darkness and I'll let the slaves go.
This is the last time, Pharaoh. We and our cattle and our families and our possessions must be allowed to leave.
Okay.
There, the darkness is gone.
Ah, there you are. Listen, you. I will decide when and if you go. If I ever see you again, I shall kill you.
For you're right, you should not be seeing me again, but your people shall come begging that we be allowed to leave.
Moses, this is the Lord.
Yes, Lord, I am here. What do we do next? The darkness was very effective. Pharaoh was going nuts, but he is one hard-hearted fellow. 9 plagues hadn't softened him.
It is time for the final plague, Moses. Are you ready?
Final? As in death?
Tell all your people to ask for jewelry and gold and silver and clothing from their Egyptian neighbors. Toward midnight, every firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die.
We live in Egypt too. Are we going to die?
Good question. This month shall be the first month of the year. We might as well start a calendar if we're going to be our own nation. On the 10th of the month, take the lamb, and on the 14th you shall sacrifice it and eat it roasted. Then take its blood and mark the doorposts of your houses. Those homes with blood and markings I shall pass over. Passover? What a great name for this night. Passover.
It's certainly better than Bloody Door Day.
This day shall be remembered always. 7 days you shall celebrate this event. No one shall eat unleavened bread from the 14th to the 21st of the month. Now, I hope you remember everything I said. Go tell the people.
In the middle of the night, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh to the firstborn of the captive in the dungeon, and all of the firstborn of the cattle. Pharaoh summoned Aaron and Moses in the middle of the night.
Get out of here. Go. Leave us alone. Take our gold and silver. Leave now. Adios. Au revoir. Go. And before you go, bless me.
Why, Moses, I do think that Pharaoh is letting our people go.
Now I think he's serious.
In haste, the Hebrews left on foot, about 600,000 plus children, and they baked unleavened bread in haste. The length of the time that they lived in Egypt was 430 years. And the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, for 7 days there shall be no leavened bread eaten. Since God saved the firstborn, let all the firstborn animals be sacrificed to him, and let all the firstborn male children be redeemed by strength of the hand of the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of those house of bondage.
God led the children of Israel by the way of the Sea of Reeds. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him to bury in the cave of Machpelah. And a pillar of cloud led them by day, and a pillar of fire led them by night. Meanwhile, back in Egypt,
Ministers, why isn't my breakfast ready? Mighty Pharaoh, we are interviewing cooks today. It has been hard to find replacements.
Speaking of which, we've got some store cities which have to be finished. We need new workers.
Remember the good old days where there were Hebrew slaves? When there were frogs and lice and lots of plagues?
When Pharaoh could count on having breakfast in bed?
When all the firstborns were dead? Blast them. We were fools to let them go. Saddle the horses. Get the chariots warmed up. Let's bring them back.
This is the life. Free at last, free at last. God give us a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night to lead us. What a nice life.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
God will protect us all the way to Canaan. What is the problem? Relax. God will protect us.
Guess again. Look in the back of us. I think I see Pharaoh and the Egyptians coming.
Help, help, we're going to die.
Won't God protect us?
There are 600 chariots breathing down our necks. Be practical. Scream. Help, help.
Remain calm.
Easy for you to say, Moses. We have a choice. We can drown in the sea or go back to Egypt. Let's hear it for slavery.
There is a choice. Everyone start walking into the water. Now!
You're crazy. We'll drown.
And Moses held out his arm over the sea, and the Lord drove back the sea and turned it into dry land. And the pillar of the cloud came between the army of Egypt and the Israelites.
Do you see that, Pharaoh? The sea has parted. Let's go home. I'll make breakfast for you myself.
The Israelites are on the other side. If they can cross the sea, we can too. Order the chariots into the sea.
Moses is spreading his arms out over the sea and the waters are returning to normal. The Egyptians are drowning.
Yes, it's the old drown in the Red Sea trick. Works every time.
Moses and the children of Israel sang songs of praise. Mi chamocha ba'alem Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. And Miriam led the women in dance and song.